Girl, I'm about to spill all the tea on how I get this flawless, filter-like Instagram baddie makeup that makes me take selfies all night. I'm gonna teach you how I go from this to this. So if you've been trying to figure out how to get that perfect, flawless finish, then keep on watching because this is the video for you. First, we're going to start with fresh, clean skin. It's so important to start with a clean base, and we're going to prep the skin by moisturizing with this Kiehl's Ultra Facial Cream. Love this moisturizer because it is so hydrating and lightweight. Next, while we wait for our moisturizer to set in, we're doing brows, and I love doing my brows with Got To Be. If it's one thing that Got To Be is going to do, it's going to glue them down. I like other brow gels, but this always does the trick for me. And I start by just brushing them up so I can get them into the perfect shape that I want. Once I brush them up, I actually just use my fingernail to kind of set them in place and give it that feather, bushy kind of brow look. Just wipe away any excess gel that gets on your face while you're doing this. Glue sets pretty quick, so I do let them dry just a little bit before I shape them, but not too long. Next, it's time to carve and clean up the brows. I'm using MAC NC45 Studio Fix Concealer. It's one of my absolute favorite products on the planet. I love a good cream concealer and cream products in general because I feel like I can control the product a lot more than a liquid. I like to keep the shape pretty natural, so I just carve right under my brow hairs, and any excess product that is on the brush I just kind of pop onto my lid space. Then I just blend that product out with my finger and we move on to the other side. And next I'm just going to go in and blend out everything underneath my brows. This is a number 115 brush from Color du Jour. I absolutely love all her brushes, and those are the only brand of brushes that I'm using throughout this video. After I clean up my brows underneath, I'm going to go in with my foundation and clean up the brows at the top. I found that foundation gives you a more natural look, and it doesn't give you that sort of halo brow. It really just makes the brows look a lot more clean and natural. I like to do this by placing the product in the middle of my brow first and working it to the tip of my brow and then doing the front. It's just easier for me to control this way, and there's less product going in the front of my brow. I want more of the product towards the back end. Then I use that same number 115 brush, and I'm just going to blend out above my eyebrows to give it that seamless look. We don't want any harsh lines. And I'm just going to use my finger for reinforcement to make sure everything is blended in. Now it's time to fill in the brows. This NYX Lift and Snatch brow tint pen is everything. Look how fine this point is. It is a liquid and it is amazing, you guys. I can get the finest hair-like strokes when I'm using this product. It is absolutely my fave to do brows, and it gives you a more natural look for your brows rather than having that laminate brow effect. And if you mess up and go a little bit over your brow hairs, that's okay. Just use your little concealer brush and kind of touch it up. The great thing about using this Got To Be is if you mess up a little bit or your brows look too dark, you can brush them out with a spoolie and they are not going to move. That is my favorite thing about using Got To Be glue on my brows. And to finish off the brows, I'm going to use my Faux Filter Concealer by Huda Beauty. I'm going to tap my flat brush in there and just highlight the outer corners and the tip of my brows to give me that highlighted effect. And just for reference, this is brush number 100 in the Color du Jour collection. Make sure you tap everything out with your finger to give it that seamless blend. And these are the finished brows. Remember that brows are cousins, not sisters. So now we're going to move on to face. We're going to start by priming the face with Milk Hydro Grip Primer. If you know, you know. This stuff is a holy grail. Your makeup will literally last you until you die with this stuff. Now, mind you, I do not use this product sparingly. I will use as much as I need to make sure my makeup is set, okay? And I like to focus underneath my eyes and around my mouth because those are the areas that I crease the most. So I want to make sure that when I put makeup there, it is not going anywhere. Now make sure you let the product dry for a couple minutes before you start doing your face. So now I like to cover my hyperpigmentation. I'm going back in with the same MAC cream concealer and our flat number 100 brush. And I'm just gonna go in and cover any hyperpigmented areas on my face. I know a lot of girlies like to color correct. I personally am not a color corrector. I feel like it can go very left very fast. So I just like to use a concealer that is close to my skin tone. That way when I cover it up with foundation, it looks very seamless and very natural. We're going back in with our fluffy number 115 brush. This is just to buff the product out so it can be smooth when I layer on the foundation. And now we're going to start the concealing process with our number 115 brush and our matte concealer and just go underneath the eye. I like to start out with a concealer that is the same color as my skin tone to give it a very natural look. In my opinion, using a concealer that is the same color as your skin tone first allows this application to be buildable, so you can put on a brighter concealer on top of it and it's not going to look too crazy. I also like to just take whatever's left on the brush and go around the sides of my nose and any other areas I feel like are a little bit darker. For foundation, we're going to be using Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless. I absolutely love this foundation. It's one of the best foundations I've ever used. And we're going to use our number 122 brush from Color du Jour and blend out this foundation everywhere. Since this is a full glam look, don't be afraid to build on the foundation or use more than you normally would for a natural look. We want that full coverage look. And the thing about this foundation is it's very lightweight, so you can continue to add more if you feel like you need to. I like to make sure I don't go too far underneath my eye where I place the concealer because number one, I don't want to mess up the concealer and move it out of the way. And number two, I want to make sure that there's not too much cakiness underneath the eye because that can cause more creasing. Make sure when you're blending your foundation, you go all the way over by your ears as well as underneath your chin. You don't want any lines of demarcation, so you don't want anyone to know where your foundation starts or stops. And as you can see, I haven't placed any product on my forehead. I like to just take whatever's left over on my brush and put that on my forehead because I don't want my forehead to be too cakey either. Next, we want to brighten the face up, so I'm using my Full Filter Concealer by Huda Beauty. Absolutely love this stuff, and I'm going to place this underneath my eyes, on my chin, and above my lip because these are the places that I really want to be highlighted in this look. In order to blend this product better, I like to let it dry down first, so while we wait for it to dry, I'm going to contour with the Milk Sculpt Stick. Milk truly has me in a chokehold right now. I absolutely love their Sculpt Stick, and I use this on the sides of my face as well as my jawline to give me a snatched jaw area. I like to use it under my lip to create shadows for a more plump lip, and along the sides of my nose to contour my nose as well as around my forehead just to help add some warmth back into the look. And now we're going to use our 115 concealer brush and just start to blend out all of the areas that we concealed. I like to start with the chin first so I can let the product dry down under my eye as much as possible. Now the trick is to go in very soft stippling motions. Do not blend this out too hard and take your time. I tried to wait until the very last minute to push the product underneath my lash line because I want to keep from using as much product there because I don't want creasing. Then I like to take the product and move it up towards my temples so I can create a snatched, lifted eye look. And now we're going to blend out our contour with our number 119 brush from Color du Jour. I like to use the brush backwards by having the fluffier side towards my ear and temple and the skinnier side towards my cheek because I want to diffuse it out more towards the outside of my face. The name of the game here is stippling and just blending out until it looks very diffused and very seamless. After I do one side, I like to go ahead and do around my temples and on my forehead to give me some warmth back into my face. Make sure you're also blending that product up into your hairline because you don't want a random line there that shows, hey, this is where my contour stops and finishes. So make sure everything is blended all the way up into your hairline. And now we move on to the other side. When blending out around the jawline, make sure you're not taking it too far down to your neck. You don't want things to look muddy, you just want things to look like there's a shadow there, and that's going to give you that snatched jawline effect. Next, I'm going to use the Milk Bionic Bronzer. I love this stuff because it is more of a liquid and oil-based bronzer, and this to me just gives me a little bit more of a glow on the sides of my face where I was contouring. Next, I'm going to use blush. This is a Lips and Cheek blush by Milk, and I love this stuff. I'm just going to use my number 120 brush and swipe it onto my face. This just helps me apply it better because I feel like if I use the stick directly on my face, it kind of moves the makeup around, and using the brush helps me get a seamless, flawless finish. I like to focus more on the area between my highlight and my contour because there's always a gap there, and I feel like blush is a great way to fill in that gap and give it a nice transition. And for a little bit more color, I'm going to use the Milk Bionic blush on top of it all. Absolutely love this stuff. It's super pigmented, and I just used a few drops on each side of my face and blend that out with the same number 120 brush. Now to blend out my nose contour, I'm using a number 106 brush. I absolutely love taking the product up into my brows. I feel like once everything is blended together, not only does it look more natural, but it also looks more professional. It just gives the vibe of your contour is coming from somewhere and not just starting at the sides of your nose. Because when we do eyeshadow, I also bring the eyeshadow up into that area, so everything just looks very seamless and very blended together. You'll see in a minute. I like to make sure the product on my nose is super blended, so I take a beauty blender with some setting spray and I just like to blend that out up in the areas where I put it towards my brows. Lastly, for contour, we're going to blend out underneath the mouth. Please do not forget this. There's been so many times where I've forgotten to blend this underneath my mouth and I've walked out and it's been a big dark mark underneath my mouth. So make sure you blend it out with a brush, a beauty blender, and then I like to take my foundation brush and just go on top of it to make sure it's not a dark, ugly shadow there. Now we're going to use our fluffy concealer brush and just blend out the concealer around my mouth. I like to do this last because I really want this product to dry all the way down before I blend it out. Now for my favorite and most important step is powder with our Laura Mercier translucent powder, and we're going to use a pink powder puff that I got on Amazon. If you want the link, it'll be in my Amazon storefront. And I'm just going to take this powder and really press it underneath my eye. The first step in getting that baked look and that really bright under eye is pressing the powder into where you concealed. In addition to pressing underneath my eyes, I also like to go on the sides of my nose, above my mouth, and my lip, and any other areas that we did our brightening concealer on. Now we can bake with our one size powder. This is in the color Honey, and I just go over the same exact areas that I did with the translucent powder. This is just going to really help mattify and set everything on your face. Now we're going to set the contour areas with the NARS Laguna bronzing powder. I like to use a bronzing powder in a color that's not too dark because I don't want the contoured areas to look very muddy. I still want it to look warm but not too dark. Key areas that you want to focus on when you're bronzing is going to be the upper cheekbones towards the temples, also the forehead and the sides of the temples. I like to also take this product a little bit underneath my lip and as well as around the sides of my nose where we did the contouring. Now it's time to set our blush. I'm using a number 124 brush and this Revolution powder blush to set the areas where we put our cream and our liquid blush. Right now I'm just focusing on bridging the gap between the contour and the highlight underneath my eyes, so I'm not focusing too much on the apples of the cheeks just yet. Now for the second blush, I'm going to be using my Dior blush, the same number 124 brush, and focusing on the apples of my cheeks and underneath the eyes to create a seamless look. Brushing the blush underneath your eyes is going to help everything look very flawless, very seamless, and blended together. Now it's time to set. I'm using the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. I love this setting mist because not only does it give you an even spray, but it also gives you a dewy look. So if you want a dewy vibe to your makeup, then this is the perfect setting spray. We're also going to set with the One Size On Till Dawn. This is just going to make sure your makeup is locked in place. We're going to focus on warming up the eyes. I'm using my same bronzer palette, the Laguna palette from NARS, and a number 112 brush, and just focusing on the crease areas of my eyelids. When it comes to eyeshadow, I don't do too much. I usually just use a transition color to focus on warming up my eyes. As you can see, I'm also taking the product up into my brow bone and my eyebrows. This is just going to make sure the contour on your nose and everything on your eyes just looks very blended, very seamless, and very professional. If you are an eyeshadow girly, then feel free to do whatever eyeshadow look that you would like to complete this look. I personally am just a transition color girly, and that's gonna be that. And I'm just using whatever is left on my brush to go along the sides of my nose so that I can make sure everything looks the same. For that professional makeup artist look, I like to focus on the under eyeshadow more than the eyeshadow on top. So I'm just going to be using this number 105 brush and a Morphe palette to give my under eyes some warmth as well. This, in my opinion, is a really good trick to cover up some of the areas that you would crease under your eye. I like to do a reverse gradient effect, so I start off with a color that is lighter and closer to my skin tone. Then I pop on a browner color or a color that's a little bit darker, and for the last color I'm going to be using the dark one just on the outer corners of my eyes. I also like to take that darker color and just pop it right on the lash line on my eyelids. This is going to give you a faux liner look, and it makes your lashes look more full. Now I'm going to use my MAC Studio Fix. This is actually foundation, but I'm going to use it to set the rest of the areas on my face. I like to also take this product and just run it all over my face, excluding my under eyes because we want to keep the under eyes bright, but putting it all over the face kind of just blends everything together and makes it look very seamless. And we're going to set again with our On Till Dawn setting spray. For mascara, we're going to be using the Lash Idol mascara from Lancome. I love this applicator because the bristles are so short. It's perfect for the lashes along your waterline. Now it's time for black eyeliner. I'm using Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil. This eye pencil is so good. It's one of the only ones that I've found that doesn't run down your eye, and I'm just lining my waterline with this pencil. Now we're going to use the same brand Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Pencil in a brown color. This is Whiskey, and I'm just going to create a little wing on the edge of my eye. Don't worry about getting the perfect shape here. We're going to perfect that shape with a brush in just a few seconds. Now we're going to take a number 106 brush and just kind of lightly buff this product out to give a more winged look. Now for lips, we're going to start by lining the lips with the NYX lip pencil in the color Coffee. Start by tucking your lips in and just overlining them just a tad. We don't want that too crazy overlined look. This is the reason for putting that brightening concealer on the top lip. It kind of erases the natural shape that you already have and allows you to create a shape that you want with lip liner. And you're gonna do the same thing underneath your lip as well, just kind of overline the lips just a little bit. I also like to take the lip liner and go over my natural lip line as well, so that way when we apply lip gloss, everything looks smooth. Now we're gonna take the Dose of Colors lip gloss and apply this all over our lips. And again, for that gradient effect, we're going to use the NYX Butter Gloss in the color Fortune Cookie and put this right on the center of our lips. I like to take my lip liner one last time and go over the original line that I created and shade anything else in that I feel like needs fixing. And here is the finished look, you guys. This is my go-to makeup when I am filming, when I want to take photos, or just want to feel like an Instagram baddie. I guarantee this look will have people stopping to ask you what products you use and wondering how you do your makeup. Anytime I do this makeup routine, I get tons of compliments and I always feel like that girl. Let me know in the comments how you think this look came out. I'm absolutely obsessed with it, and I hope that this video helps you get that Instagram baddie makeup look you're going for. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you girls in the next video. Bye!
I'm outside in an AMG, right outside, TT, two-turn baby girl, you know